trying to connect.
What's up, everybody? My name is Starsky, and if you're watching this video right now, then you know that we're about a week away from me releasing a new song called SUPRALOVE, which is coming out on March 4th to be exact. And I did something special with this one, so I wanted to give some of you a little sneak peek into the things that I've been working on. So in order to get into it, we have to turn back time a little bit.
Once you learn to use a computer, you soar into a universe of opportunity. You might explore outer space without ever entering a rocket, or you could design a space shuttle without ever picking up a pencil.
During the course of the pandemic, I stupidly decided to stress myself out even more and get really into the topic of artificial intelligence.
No 9,000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information.
I got really into how the technologies around us were affecting us, and that kind of like led me down a rabbit hole of trying to understand where technology is going. So we know that machines and computers and robots are taking over certain jobs that used to be human jobs. Started mostly with kind of the mundane tasks that we didn't really want to do anyway. So we were just like, okay, let's make a machine that does that for us so we can focus on doing other things. And that's kind of a snowball that got bigger and bigger. And now we're in this place where it's like, okay, we have a little bit of an understanding how the human brain works, and we know computers very well. So why don't we try and merge the two together and make a computer that thinks like humans? And that's where it started to get interesting, because now we see these computers encroaching on jobs that we originally didn't think computers would be able to do. If you look at that trend and you kind of project it into the future, the question that I was sitting with was like, will computers eventually replace artists and musicians as well? Like, will my dream job eventually become obsolete? Because essentially what a computer is just a machine that's really good at executing formulas. And isn't one of the main arguments about popular music that it's too formulaic? And I just started looking at that like it's like bait for artificial intelligence. Because as soon as you can like extrapolate a formula or mathematically represent something, you can basically train the computer to do the same thing. And eventually, you can make it do 1,000 times better than you. And yeah, that question really stressed me out. So that all led me to write a song about this, and that's what became SUPRALOVE. Writing the song didn't really answer this question on my mind. But then I was like, what does it take to create my own AI? And what if I could task it to remix my song about AI? And so that's what I ended up doing. I created a program called M.O.Di, and today I want to share with you the remix that it created, as well as show you a little bit of how it works. I did a little bit of programming in college, but I'm not that much of a programmer. So I really had to break down the problem to understand how to approach it. And that's when I remembered something that I learned in college called a Markov chain analysis. I'll wait for the siren. And I guess I'm going to try and explain in its simplest way how this works.
This Markov chain analysis is like a probabilistic prediction algorithm. It basically takes in a sequence of events or states and can then sort of predict the following states. So if you take a sequence like a day in your life, so you wake up in the morning and you're at home, and then you go to work, and then after work you go to a restaurant, and then you go back home. And the next day you wake up at home, then you go to work, and you're an astronaut, so you take a rocket to Mars, and then you come back, you go to the store, and then you go back home. So after like a week, for example, you can take these transitions and give them a probability. So the connection, for example, from you being at home to you going to work has a higher probability than you being at home and going straight to Mars. So it uses these probabilities to basically predict the next place that you're going to go based on the current place that you're at. And then the cool thing is you can let it run forever.
So that was like a super dumbed down way of explaining to you how that process works. But you could basically apply it to anything that's just a sequence of events. And at the end of the day, that's what music really is. A sequence of notes and transitions that follow each other, that have a relationship between them, to which you can apply a probability. So in this program called MaxMSP, in their machine learning library, I found this object called ML.Markov, which is basically a Markov chain analysis that interprets MIDI notes or MIDI sequences. So if you play something like this, and you give it to the program, then it basically gives you its own interpretation of what you just played. And ta-da, AI music. But my challenge was giving it an entire song, an entire production, with the bass and synths and drums and vocals and everything. And I wanted the program to take every single instrument and just basically create its own unique composition and just kind of see what happens when I press play. So you get something crazy that looks like this on the back end, but I wanted M.O.Di to be super easy to use, and basically you just press initiate and then M.O.Di basically starts learning the song. And then you press start, and now you have an artificial intelligence program remixing the song in real time. And then you realize, like, okay, computers really don't know what sounding good means. They just like read ones and zeros and they just perform this task. But I thought it would just be a cool experiment for now, just to see what happens. And I gotta be honest, it sounds so wacky and so crazy, but it's so cool at the same time because it's an artificial intelligence that's remixing my own song. Now, if you press the link below, you can listen to the M.O.Di remix. And if you listen to the remix knowing that it's made by a computer, you listen to it a little differently. And I just like picture all these crazy numbers and formulas in my mind when I'm listening to it. It doesn't really sound anything at all like the original song, but definitely check it out and let me know what you think. The real version of SUPRALOVE is coming out on March 4th. You can now pre-save the song, so make sure you do that. Subscribe to me everywhere, and YouTube and Spotify, like and comment and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I've been working on some fire stuff, so make sure to go to my website and sign up for the email list, and you can be the first to know when all that stuff is coming out. And lastly, thanks for watching. I hope it was somewhat interesting. Make sure you check out SUPRALOVE when it comes out, and let me know what you think. I'll see you at the next one.